Good evening everyone, this is Sam. For tonight's video, we're gonna be going over last week's interesting movements on the trading post, and to follow up on what you guys have advised me to do, I'm gonna restrain it to some specific markets that I'm paying attention to. These markets that I'm going to be talking about are the ones about crafting food, the ones about weapon upgrades and armor upgrades, mainly runes and sigils. The last one will be investments tied to currencies. So first of all, let's go over what I have seen food-wise. So when you talk about food, you mostly think about what is used by PvEers and World vs. Worlders, why they are playing their game mode. So what is pretty interesting for Order to Sword right now is that the sweet bean buns have been going up in price. So I don't know if you realize what sweet bean buns do, but it is a plus 50% condition duration, minus 20% condition duration incoming. So this is actually a very good food if you're gonna be roaming and playing a condition spec yourself. It is quite protecting. I am expecting this to be actually used only in Order to Sword, like the supply diminished by about 20% and the price went up accordingly, because this would not be used in PvE at all. Like, it would make no sense. Obviously this is a Order to Sword food. And interestingly enough, while during the lunar patch we have seen the dumplings staying at an extremely low price of lower than 13 silver, these sweet bean buns are going up, so these would have been the proper investment during that patch, and we should definitely keep that in mind for next year, because this is going to be a very important part of our regular investment cycle. So now, as we go back to paying attention to the other parts of the market, I would have liked to talk about the cinnamon sticks. So I don't know if you guys realize what cinnamon sticks are used for, but they are a key component in making the pot of pumpkin spice, and the pot of pumpkin spice is used to make the sweet and spicy curry butternut squash soup. Sweet and spicy curry butternut squash soup is the meta power food for PvE. It is the plus 100 power, plus 70 ferocity food, the one that a lot of people accuse me of having been an insider trader on, because I actually expected it to go up in price and I had seized some means of production. One of the means of production was cinnamon stick, but I didn't try to seize that one, as the extremely high supply at extremely low prices, in my opinion, justified not investing into it. However, we've seen the price going up from just a few coppers to over 20 coppers. So while it remains extremely low in individual price, this represents a rise in price of a few 100%. This is just crazy if you think about it that way. And actually, I still do not think it is any reason to start investing into it, because the price is still very low. You only need a few to make some stacks of the sweet and spicy curry butternut squash soup, and by no mean are you gonna end up having them being at 1 silver, because there is like 100,000 there, there is also some dozens of thousands over there. Like, literally, in order to eat through all of that, a lot of people will have to put some effort together, and it would not have any positive impact on their income at all, because the individual price is so low that they would need to flip like hundreds of thousands to even make profits sizable to what they could do on another market. So this remains a rise in price that is rather interesting, but does not present a threat to your day-to-day crafting life. And now, before we move on to the rest, I would like to take a look at one last part of the food crafting, which is the truffle. Once again, this is something that is used in a lot of PvE food. I don't know if you guys are very familiar with the recipes, but the snow truffle and Aryan truffle are used to make the rare veggie pizza. Rare veggie pizza, which is, well, the best conditioned food in PvE right now, and actually that food is extremely good because it gives 20% condition duration, and that allows you to take less pieces of Viper gear on some classes, or to supplement the fact that you do not have any condition duration trait on others. So just like I said, this is a very important food for this game mode, and it is made using both the snow truffle and the Orient truffle, and the price of these two kind of dictates the price of the final material. So when these two are high, the rare veggie pizza is high. When these two are low, the rare veggie pizza is low. It's pretty clear as to what movement induces in the other. Right now, both on the snow truffle and the Orient truffle, we've had almost a plus 50% supply increase, which is really good, because the price of these was starting to go a little bit through the roof. And I would say that now is the moment to buy a few of them if you plan to craft a few stacks of the rare veggie pizzas, and even if you don't want to craft them right now, try to always get the material when they are getting low, so when the supply is high or when the price is low, because if you get them at a low price and then craft even a month later when the price is higher, the profit is going to be much better. So if you can spare the gold now while the price is low, you're going to be pleased with it later on. Now that we're done looking at the food market, we're going to be moving on to the rest. So as I said, we're going to talk about the runes and sigils. This week we have seen a huge movement in some sigils. So actually it was the bloodless sigil. I don't know if you guys paid a lot of attention to that sigil, but it was below 1 gold for a little while, and about 1,000 of them were bought directly from the sell orders, which means that the price went up accordingly and quite high. Like if you look at this, you have a few orders at 1 gold and below, and then the orders that are above 1 gold look very unnatural. These are orders that are following up a wave, and the wave was the buyout of the listings. So now what we could be thinking is that maybe someone has some insider info that this sigil is gonna get a rework, or maybe they are expecting, without necessarily insider info, that rework would happen to these sigils, because if you guys are not familiar with them, these are what we call stacking sigils. For each kill you do in PvE, you get 1 stack, and with each kill you do in PvP or Word to Sword, you get 5 stacks, with a maximum of 25 stacks. And this gives you a bonus to an attribute. The thing is, in PvE, these were mostly used by people who were soloing Ara, because you would get a sweet power increase by killing the spiders at the start or the risen. But outside of that, it has very little to no usage. So I'm pretty sure that someone is expecting them to get a rework at some point, possibly due to a nerf in the concentration. We're talking about that in previous videos. A nerf to concentration would induce that the super sigil of bounty, that one would change quite possibly, which would induce a change on all of the other stacking sigils as well. And now, before we move on to the last part of the video, it is interesting to take note that this is not the only stacking sigil that was affected. The super sigil of corruption already underwent a similar rise in price. You might not be able to see it because the listings are still quite low, but about 1,000 was bought as well 3 weeks ago. So someone is definitely expecting a rework to these and getting ready for it, or they just, like, I don't know, misclicked a buy order. But these type of movements usually stem from someone having a clear idea of what could happen. Anyways, let's move on to the last part of the video as we get to what I said earlier, which is the movement in currencies. So before the PvP season, I bought a lot of Shards of Glory, expecting an eventual rework of them, as the supply of Shards of Glory much exceeds whatever the player base can consume of them. This is mostly due to what happened in Season 5, the rewards being good and a lot of people farming them. And the Shards of Glory had a little of a buyout recently, so Shard of Glory is still at an extremely low price of 26 copper, but about 400,000 of them were bought during last week. This is quite a bit, this is more than usual, but it is still nothing significantly impacting the price of the Shards of Glory. So overall, we have seen quite a few movements on the trading post this week. In my opinion, nothing pretty incredible apart from the fact that the sigils of Bloodlust went up and that it is pretty interesting to start playing around with truffles, but this will be left to your guys' appreciations. I hope that you have liked this video and that it has proven to be of use to you. And if you have any suggestions on improving the content, or if you have any questions that you need me to answer, feel free to ask them in the comment section or to come on our Discord. to ask them to anyone over there. There is also another pretty good news that I would like to share with you guys. I have recently gotten affiliated on Twitch, which was about a month ago, and I have gotten a sub button, so people can now sub to me on Twitch, which means that we are getting one sub emote, and the sub emote must be pretty cool because we're only getting one for now. And if you guys have any idea, please do come over on Discord and share your ideas with us, because we still do not have any clear concept of what we would like to be done. So definitely, if you guys have a plan for that, you're welcome to come and talk about it. I would be delighted for that. Anyways, I hope that you guys have enjoyed all of this content, and I wish you all a happy trading and to get rich.